Good morning. Today we are going to fix the clamp motor for a Mr. Blue 2.0 tracer. So I am going to turn it on and show you the error code that you'll be getting when your clamping motor dies. Alright, so I'm going to push this button to turn it on and it'll power up, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so you came in this morning and... Okay, so you came in, starting again. You came in and this is the error code you got when the machine turned on. Yeah, I don't really know what the hell's going on here with my machine, so I'm gonna put this here. If I push the button to contact my, tracer table defect. What in the world's going on here? Uh-oh. It's hard to push. Clamps are stuck. What the heck? Alright, let's try this one more time. What's going on here? Problem defect. Okay, tracing table function. Alright, so you got this error code. Now what do? Well, now what you're going to do is you're going to call customer service and you're going to tell them that you need parts to fix it. Your clamping jaws are jacked, and these are the parts you need. You need the L11S40 and the L11S41, and those are going to be the new clamping jaws and the jaw motors. So those are going to move these little guys right here up and down. Should also make this a little easier to move. Alright, so I'm going to get set up, turn my lights back on, and I'm going to start taking it apart. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that you power off the machine. You always want to work with the power off. That's very important. First step you're going to do, you're going to open up your side doors. There's two little wings where they have a lot of components. You're going to take off these two side trays. It's pretty easy. You're going to push down here. It's going to come over, and then just going to take it out. And then you're going to remove your blocking pads, and we will get started opening it up. Okay, so your blocking pads are removed, and now you're going to start by removing 4 screws, 2 on each side. One here, one back here, and then on the other side you're going to remove that one and the one back there. So we're going to just easily remove these screws, and I'm going to take the 4 screws out, and then I'll show you where we're at. Okay, so your 4 screws are out. You need to make sure you have a Phillips head screwdriver, and what this is going to do is it's going to release this tray here. So you need to slide your tray up, and this is just going to go ahead and slide right out. Now I need 2 hands to do this, so you're gonna have a fun view while I do this. Okay, you just pop it, and it slides and comes right off, and that exposes your clamp motors, exposes your cable. So this is one of the cables for your clamping motor, and this is your other. Now I would leave them intact. I would leave them where they are. Don't disconnect anything yet, because you want to make sure that you put everything back to where it goes. Okay, so there's a couple more steps that we'll have to do to get to the clamping motors, and so now I am going to go ahead and get ready, but this is how you replace the clamping motors. So I have 2 new clamping motors that I received from my distributor, and I'm going to now show you how to get the clamping motors replaced. Okay, so you got the cover off. You're going to gently lift up and rattle that piece. That'll come off. You're just going to get that up and out of the way. Next thing you're going to do is we need to loosen the tracing table from the rest of the machine. So we're going to go ahead, and there's 4 screws. There's one here. There is one here. Whoop. There's one back here. I'm going to try to get the camera a little better. There's one back there, down in that hole. Whoop. And then there's one back here in that hole. So let's go ahead and loosen those 4 screws. I'm going to loosen this one. We're going to loosen up this one here. I had started to loosen them a little bit so that it was a little easier. I'm going to do that one, and then I'm going to hit this one in the back corner. And do that. Alright, now, next thing you're going to do is you're going to gently lift this out, and you need to disconnect your 2 cables. Okay, so I'm going to put the phone down, Actually, I probably can do this. Let's put it right here. Went upside down, but we're going to go ahead and disconnect this. And we're going to disconnect this one. Okay, so now the table is completely disconnected from the unit. Sorry about flipping it around on you again. And I'm going to pick this up. So now the tracing table is out, so I'm going to move it over. Hey, look at this. Got my new motors all ready to rock and roll. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace to the next step. All right, and this is also a really good opportunity. There's a lot of dust and debris down inside the machine. It's always good to get the dust and debris out. So I got a can of compressed air. I'm not endorsing end dust, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to use some compressed air to clean it out. Okay? All right, and one or two more we got it all cleaned out. So it's always just good to try and keep your machine nice and clean. Sorry, it's good to keep your machine nice and clean as you go. The longer the machine lasts, the less money you're spending on having it. Okay, great. So we got that cleaned out. Great. Now we're gonna come back. I don't know why I keep pausing it. We're gonna come back over here, and we need to go ahead and we're gonna remove these two clamping motors and replace them with our new ones. And I'm gonna show you how to free the clamping motors. Okay, so we got the clamping motor. I just wanted to show you something that I realized just a hot second ago. That this little push bar assembly that goes on here, it actually isn't supposed to just slide right out. There's actually two little Allen wrench screws down here that you need to loosen in order to get it out. So now they're loosened and you can pull it out. So I just wanted to tell you that that piece shouldn't just slide right out like mine did. I must have, 2 years ago when I replaced these motors, I probably forgot to tighten that back up. So now to get to the motors themselves, there are two Allen wrench holes here. There's one there, there's one here, and then on the other side, there are, I can just turn this around here, there are two more, one here and then one over here. So we need to take those four off so that we have access to the clamping motors, and we'll have these pieces come right off. So here we go. Okay, great. So we got these. Now we're just gonna carefully slide this off here. This should just pop right up. Sometimes it gets a little sticky in the corner here. So I'm gonna just set the, hold on, these will pop right off. It really does. I still have it recording, and there it goes. It just has a little tab there. That just was a little stuck. So I gotta figure out how to get those tabs out. But anyway, I'm putting this on the side with the clamping motor that it goes with. And on this one, again, we have just to pop these up because it has the same little tabs, and then nice and easy, comes right out. So we got it. Now you'll see up there I do have some crappy instructions that were provided to me by the manufacturer, and I'm gonna say don't bother because they are useless. There's no real good images. And then here is what the inside looks like, and you can see from here the next step is removing these four little screws on each of those and loosening the wire components so that they're not attached to the housing anymore. So we're going to take that off. We're going to go ahead and disconnect this one. Yep, and we're going to disconnect this one. I know, a pain in the butt this is. So I'm going to disconnect these, I'm going to take out those four screws, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when the clamping motors are out. Okay, so now we're going to use our screwdriver, and we're going to go ahead and unscrew these four screws here. Whoop, 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 whoop. And then we're going to go ahead and carefully lift the assembly out. I'm going to put it near the other one, near the new one, and then we're going to, on this side, we're going to use, whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, there you go. Now they're out, and we're going to go ahead and move the assembly aside. So now we are ready to reinstall the motors. So this is where you should be, and hopefully when this is all said and done, you'll notice that the machine works properly. But we still have to wait and see. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer the screws over to the assembly. So we'll have to take the screws out of this one and put it in this one, and then we're going to reinstall it back into this location using those 4 screw holes. Okay, so I got the screws all reattached. I put the new motor assemblies in. They just simply went in the exact same way you took them out. I got my screws all attached there. You can see the old motors are here. Now you can notice the difference here. These old, they had frozen with the clamps engaged, and what that did is that made the table slide with a crunchy noise, which we heard earlier when I first started the video. Now you'll see they slide nice and easy because the motors are disengaged at the proper point. And now what we just need to do is reassemble the entire unit. I will go ahead and start by putting these top pieces back on in the exact order that I took them off, and then I will show you where I am. Okay, so we're going to start reinstalling the covers. Okay, so the one thing to remember is when you're installing the cover on the back, there is a little hole here where this wire is intended to come out. I'll take it around so you can see the little cutout here. These 2 screw holes need to line up here, but make sure that wire is in that cutout and that your inside the wire is safely out of the way of the jaws. So now we go ahead and we're going to reattach these 2 screws back here into these holes here to make sure that the clamp lid stays on. And we're going to reinstall this side, and then we're going to take it back to the machine. Okay, so this side's this side's pretty straightforward. You just want to make sure you have your wire tucked in so it just stays out of the way. Everything should be tucked in nice and neat. We're going to go ahead and install these 2 screws here. Then we're going to slide this cover back down in and tighten up the 2 screws that are down on those little holes. All right, one sec. Okay, so we have it all back. It's reassembled. Now let's just take it back over to the machine. What we're going to do is we're going to carefully set it in here. I have my screws aside, and we're going to reconnect the clips, and then we are going to assume that once we power it back up, this sucker's going to work. Hopefully this error code that we received on the machine wasn't they checked it out and said that they believe that it's a hardware issue, but I'm hopeful that it's not a software issue, but we will see. I'm going to go ahead and pause it again while I get the tracing table back in, loaded up, and I got to respond to a text message from a client who broke their glasses. Okay, so we got it back in here. We just carefully set the tracing table in. You want to make sure to put your cable up in this little hook so that when the jaws are opening and closing after you put your cover back on, the wire is relatively out of the way. You'll see that it's hooked in, comes down like this, and goes around up into that location just to keep it from getting spliced while you're using the machine with the cover on. These 2 little plugs need to be plugged back in. You need to reattach the 4 screws, and then we'll reattach the cover. Okay, so I keep pausing it to do some of the work, and I hope everyone's okay with that. If you have any issues with that, you can like and comment, and I can help you work through this a little easier. These machines are extremely expensive, and I would just say don't be afraid to work on them. They are pretty easy plug and play wise. This will need to just go ahead and slide back on, and again I gotta actually do this with 2 hands because it's a little easier. Actually, the way it's designed, this piece here, if this piece here isn't on there, it's much easier to put this cover on. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece again, and then I'm going to show you how to just drop the cover on, because it is the way it's supposed to be done. Okay, bye. Okay, so I took that piece off now. So this is the way it's supposed to be done. The instructions I got and the tech support that I got didn't actually tell me that. You slide the clamps all the way to the middle. This little piece will just pop up. There we go. I'm a righty. Sorry. That's going to pop up and slide on. So it went on a heck of a lot easier. I know I was fumbling with it, but it went on a heck of a lot easier with that particular piece missing. So I'm going to go ahead and reattach that piece, and then I'm going to go ahead and reattach those 4 screws. Boom, boom. And put the blocking pads back in the little dispenser, close the cover, and then I'm going to power that bad boy on. And I won't power it on until I have everything buttoned up, and then we'll power it on together. Okay, so it's all buttoned back up. We got our blocking pads back in here. I like to actually use those little blocking pads. I think it's kind of handy, your little blocking pad holders. You're going to close everything up. You got your guys up here. And my little stylus pens here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and cross our fingers. I got everything. I don't have any extra parts. Those are my old motors and the crappy instructions, my Allen wrenches. And then we're going to go ahead and power this bad boy back on and see what happens. Now, I am optimistic that everything worked out fine and that it'll work out and I'll be able to get to edging again using my tracer. I was able to continue to use the optical tracer, which uses the image here. I was able to continue to use that, but I was having to bump up and resize everything by 0.35 to get it to cut out. So it was causing us to have a little bit of shrink issues. We're having some sizing issues. So once we figured out 0.35 was where we needed to go, we were able to rock and roll a little bit like that. But we did have a couple jobs come in without lenses, and those do pose a problem when you have a metal frame or a plastic frame where the lenses have actually been lost. It can be a big hubbubaloo to try and make lenses for that job. So thankfully we didn't have too many of those jobs come through. We only had 2, so those are both waiting for Monday morning for me to get back in here and actually start making jobs. So far so good. The tracer seems to be initializing. It's still on its little thinking dots. So we're going to go ahead and let it initialize, and hopefully everything runs like it's supposed to. Clamping motors, they moved. We've got movement in the table. That was missing. Oh, hello. Oh, my dust. Oh, yeah, buddy. It's back up and running. So that's how you change the clamping motors. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can like and subscribe. I do plan on posting more videos to help show how to do things in this nonsensical world of no help. If you need anything, please let me know. Have a great day. Yo.